Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Weeks ago about a door hinge that I'm looking to release the tension on.
Oh yeah, sure, I recall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I sent you back a reply email with a photo, and I did locate the hinge that you were asking. You were asking if there was a pin that existed, and I did find that pin. It was sort of like buried behind the sheetrock, actually, so it was kind of plastered in.
Yeah.
But once I, put a like a screwdriver in there and turn the cylinder on there, it appeared. So I'm seeing it now. But so now I guess I'm wondering where to go from there.
So you're going to, that instrument that you have, maybe it's a center punch or a scratch awl, you're going to want to have two of those.
Okay.
And you'll probably want to have a needle nose plier. So you will want to put your center punch into the hole nearest that tension pin, the thing that's covered with drywall powder or whatever it is. And you're going to want to take your needle nose and use any tools you want. I'm just using the ones that I would go grab. And get your needle nose on the top of that tension pin and try to coax it out.
Okay.
So assuming it will come out because it went in, okay, now after the decades, you might have to crank on it to get it to come out. You'll remove that. The purpose of the two center punches is if you were to let the tension go, you might find that your center punch is going to hit the wall and still have tension on it. So if you have two, you can work that down by going, going 45 degree of the turn, moving your next tool and walking that tension collar down so that you can release all the tension.
Okay. When the tool is inserted into the hole there, is it going through two holes, or is that just one piece that it's going through?
So modern construction of that is, if you were to have something small enough, it would go through there to the other side. So only go in so far as to, only go in a quarter inch at the most. Only go in shallow.
Yeah.
Because I've had someone try to set the tension and I can't get it to move. How far are you sticking in the tension rod? Your center punch all the way through. No, that won't work. Or no, I think what the client did was he was trying to push the tension pin in and had his tension rod all the way through the thing. He's like, it won't go all the way in. Yeah, because that hole's all the way through the tension collar.
I see. Okay. So I need to turn it so that I need to turn it clockwise so that the pin presents itself. Then I need to put a second rod in there, and so at that point I'll have both of those holes will be filled. No,
not yet. Put your one in there, close to the pin. Turn it clockwise, like you said, lefty loosey, righty tighty, because your tension collar is pointed towards the top of the door. You turn it just like a nut, just like a faucet, okay? Put it closest to it, crank it out, pull the pin out.
Okay.
Now, in your left hand, you still have that tension rod, which is your center punch or whatever, the tension rod. If you were to let that go, it's gonna hit your white drywall. And you won't be able to pull it out because the tension collar still has spring tension on it. That's where the second tension rod comes in. You can move it back, put the other tension rod in the new hole because now you're turning counterclockwise, put it there. Then let that new tension rod go close to the drywall, and if you still need more room, put your first tension rod back into the new hole that's presented and continue to walk it down by leapfrogging your tension rods over each other so that you can get all the tension removed.
Okay. All right.
That was an awful explanation.
No, I'm sure it totally makes sense. I just don't really. I'm unable to wrap my head around it without being in front of it and doing it. But
I
so the
happen to be
idea
looking at your photograph, so I'm cheating.
So the idea, though, is to sort of walk it down, leapfrog the pin in the holes.
Yes, the tension rod. Yeah.
Okay, and then I need to get all the tension out, because what I need to do is completely remove the hinge, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're going to want all the tension, because if there's still tension on the spring, as you open the door, you're increasing tension. Well, your pin will come out.
Yeah.
Your tension pin will be out. All the tension has to be removed. Otherwise, as you turn the screws to remove them, that hinge leaf is going to want to snap closed.
Yeah. That's what's going on right now.
You're right, exactly.
Okay. All right. So I'll give it a shot. I'm sure it's probably a little more intuitive once you're actually doing it, right?
Well, it is, and the reason is there's only but one way for it to come apart. So when you go through all the ways it ain't working, you'll come to the way that it does work.
Okay. So once I remove the pin, I remove the pin, am I sticking another rod in there to where that tension pin, the existing tension pin is, or am I not at that point?
No, not there, because
not
now
there.
you're traveling counterclockwise. You'll want to put it in a new hole that will come from the left side. Your tension pin's on the right side.
Tension pin's on the right. So I'm turning it counterclockwise.
As you are alleviating tension.
Okay, because the tension is pulling it inwards. So if I'm alleviating it. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. When you put your tension rod in there and you crank it clockwise, you pull that pin out, you slowly let the tension rod go. You're going to realize, oh, okay, if I continue to let the tension rod move counterclockwise, it's going to hit the drywall, and you won't be able to pull the tool out. And that's where the second tension rod comes in. You'll then put the second tension rod to the left, give it a little clockwise, pull your first tool out, let that go counterclockwise.
Ah, okay. It's making sense now. Yep. So it's like there's like a spring in there. And I guess that's what
guaranteed there's a giant spring in there. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yep. I was kind of wondering how the tension is working in there. Okay. All right. So that makes sense. So you get all the tension out, and then once you get it, then I can remove the hinge. When I go to put it back in, it's just the reverse. The steps are just in reverse. It's retensioning it.
That's exactly correct, but this time you'll only need one tension rod. You'll crank it clockwise, put your pin in. If that's not enough, crank it over some more and move your tension pin. Crank it again, move your tension pin. If you hear any creaking on the spring, does your door go to 90 degree or does it go past that?
No, it opens almost 90, I'd say.
Okay. I probably would not exceed 4 holes of tension. And if you hear any creaking, back it off. But you might want to try to memorize how many holes you're seeing disappear away from your original tension pin, so you know where to, how many holes you can crank before you're going to put it back the way it was.
Got it. Okay.
The point is, you don't want to snap that spring.
Don't want to snap it, right? Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, you're not going to, but I've had people call me, hey, your hinge is no good. What are you talking about? Well, the spring broke. Well, how many holes did you put? Attention, 12? Okay, no, stop. 3 or 4 only. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but depends on the degree of opening. So, just off the cuff, I would say 3 or 4 holes. But just count them as you're removing the tension, so you know how many. You'll be an expert after this.
Okay. And just for future reference, do you sell this hinge, or a hinge that would work as a replacement? Yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That hinge is still manufactured by Bommer, and it's going to look almost identical to that. I think their barrels are a little bit bigger now, but the ball tip is all but the same. But there's a little change in the design. That thing's got to be, that thing could be from the 20s. It could be from the 30s. You know, that thing's a century old probably. And they do still make it. They make it in both an adjustable and non-adjustable version.
Huh. Okay.
You have to be in New York, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. New York is full. Bomber must have owned that city at some point. New York is, every time I'm a tourist, everywhere I go has got Bomber everywhere.
Huh. Yeah. Yep. The apartment was built in 1921, I think. So
yeah,
that makes
sense.
Yeah.
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 I've been to Bomber, and the owner of Bomber is the husband of the granddaughter of one of the two brothers who founded Bomber in 1876. So they're a family-run business.
Still going. That's amazing.
Still going.
That's a pretty rare thing, I feel like.
Well, what's rare is they're 100% American manufactured. And I mean, even their pens that they write with in customer service, you know, that's, you know, nothing is imported. Fun fact about Bomber, at their plating plant, the water that they eject into the municipal, you know, waste system is cleaner than the drinking water in the area. And that means that their waste coming out of the plating plant is hyper clean because it's normal drinking water like you and I have. So it's just a fun fact about Bomber.
Huh. Good company then, it sounds like.
I hope they're around for another 150 years. I really do.
Right. Yeah. They definitely don't make hinges like these things. I've never seen anything like it. I was actually very surprised to have found them on your website.
What can you buy today and expect it to have a century plus of useful service?
Right. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yep. And they'll probably still be on that door for however long this apartment exists, I would imagine. If there's not a tragedy and the fire department comes by responding, those will still be there. Yep. Okay. Well, one last question. Is there a certain tool that works really well for these things, or do you think I could just, I mean, it sounds like I could just find something from the hardware store.
Agreed. So we're dealing with tension rods is what we would call it, a black piece of tempered steel. You want to get something, if you had a caliper, I would put it inside of there, and I would try to get a piece of steel that's going to be rigid enough. Now, a scratch-all would work, but you're kind of probably need to grind that down a little bit so that you get the thicker portion to fit in there. But now you're out buying two scratch-alls. We sell tension rods, but the problem is the cost to ship you two of them is going to be, you know, $10. So you might want to look around and see if you've got a scratch-all, you know, or a center punch, or, you know what's also good, a nail set. But nail sets are very thin at the end, and you don't want to crack it. But some instrument to go in there so that you're not going to break, you're not going to shatter what you've stuck in there and hurt yourself as a result. Right.
Nail set wouldn't be prone to cracking, I wouldn't think, as long as I'm using a one that's a little thicker. Should be fine.
You get a nail set for like not for doing brad nails. I think you'd be fine because that's tempered steel. That's going to be quite durable.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah, I'll give that a shot. See what happens then.
Let me know. Either way. Just I'd love to know. It's I've reached out to the head engineer at Bommer through this process, they're just like to know that you got it all under control. So there you go.
Great. Yeah. I'll definitely. Yeah. I'll keep you posted for sure.
Thank you, sir. Have a good weekend.
Okay. You too. Thanks, Richard.
Bye-bye. Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program.